Welcome everyone to another episode of Nexus Esports Edition podcast. With us today we have Ignacio Agustin Estanga, or also known as TheArgie, or the Argentinian. And we've talked before, but could you give us a bit of an introduction?
Yeah, sure. Well, since the last time, the last interview that we had, I was just a commentator, just a normal, random commentator from South America, and time has passed, and lots of crazy things have, just showed up in the middle of the road, and now I'm still commentating. Now I'm doing it for Dreamhack and for ESL Spain, so I've kind of like been, moving and climbing up the ladder, so to speak, and I'm now producing events with a company here in Argentina, like esport related events.
Wow. No, that's it's a very deserved congratulations. You are already getting well known within the esports community, not only the Hispanic Latin American one, but also in overall. Was that a very difficult transition?
It was kind of hard, of course, because when you move up to relative, big leagues, you have to appeal to an even wider audience. So I just can't have any region specific language. I can't use all my chess, my boss, and and all that. I still use it to like comedic effect, but I don't use it as much, and I have to be very aware of what I'm saying to appeal to that wider audience, definitely.
Are you finding yourself casting more now in Spanish or English? It doesn't really make a difference because you have a very good casting skills, but it's just out of curiosity.
I've been focusing 100% since I got the Dreamhack and the ESL gigs. I've just been doing it Spanish 100%, and I've been reading tons of books and getting all the right words together, because as a caster, not a lot of people know this, but you need a very, very wide vocabulary, because you can't just be repeating the same words over and over again when you're describing something. And people seem to appreciate that I've been doing that, because I've been getting feedback you're using words that we've never seen before in StarCraft commentary and things like that. So I've been moving just to 100% Spanish so far.
Yeah. And I noticed as well that at least while casting StarCraft, you still have to use certain words in English, right? When you're naming units like banelings and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
How do you find the audience reacting while you're you'll get those reviews, but is it more? I think it's more positive, right? Because a lot of Hispanic audience were really expecting Spanish casts, right? It was sort of absent.
Yeah, that is very interesting, because we have the Latin American Spanish and the Spain Spanish are very different, and even the units and the maps and all of that, and the way that they refer to each one of them, the common names, are so different. So I have to keep that in mind. Definitely, I had to do a lot of research on how the game is casted in Spain, because I already know the casting meta game in Latin America. So I just had to learn the Spanish one. And the thing that I do just to appeal every single one of them is I say all three things. If I say Baneling, I say Baneling, Wetzi for Latin Americas, and I say Pesting for the Spanish audience.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and I don't know all of them, but I try to keep up with all those.
That must be a bit exhausting, to say the least.
It really was.
But it must have been really hard at first to get really into that.
It really was. When you have I don't know, there are certain words that you will always use, like workers. I say workers, and it's so hard to say trabajadores, and in Spain they call it curros, because
oh my God, what?
Jobs are a curro, and here in Argentina that's like a very bad, lousy job that you're just doing to get by. Oh. And so whenever I hear that, I'm like, oh God, I have to say it like this, and it was really hard at first, just to translate it 3 times every time I'm mentioning something. I don't do it all the time, but I do it, once for each unit, so that they know that I'm at least respecting the fact that buying the StarCraft 2, like the Latin version or the European version, European Spanish. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, I can imagine. Now, that you're almost, dedicating yourself with casting and commentating in Spanish, how would you describe your audience? Like, how many people from different countries have you met or encountered?
From like so far, I've met a whole lot of Spaniards because apparently, like all my Latin American audience, if you sum all of them, are still not enough to trample over the Spain audience. So it's really weird because I really wasn't expecting that. I mean, the first time that we did the WCS Europe Finals, that was the first breakthrough event, and I really wasn't expecting like them to like us because we refer to units in a different way. I really didn't know how they referred to the units, but they seem to really like the way we did things. And so far, I mean, I've met people from Spain, from all over Spain, and from from the American region. I think Mexico, Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama. It's just all the countries. And I mean, we even have like Brazilians and people living in California that they're still tuning in, and they're like, "Oh, I've never heard StarCraft in Spanish. You guys sound like with a lot of passion. It's really good."
Do you feel that you're setting the stage for Latin American, well, Hispanic Latin American casters, and or joining the group of casters that was already settled, for example, in Spain? Because Spain has already a lot of, StarCraft casters. How do you feel yourself? Where are you at this point?
I mean, I think I'm really aware. I mean, I really want to think that I'm aware of this, or maybe it's just some crazy thing that I have going on in my head. But I think that I'm a bridge caster.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to bridge the audience, in such a way that they can feel comfortable if they're from this region, from Latin America, and they can feel, equally comfortable if they're from Spain. And I mean, it's really hard if you're Argentinian because the accent is so different.
Yeah.
I don't know, like imagining someone casting with a really thick Scottish accent in English. It's probably like that. But I've been able to like identify what I was pronouncing in my own way and try to to make like a neutral version of that. And yeah, then again, that's like my approach to casting. I don't try to imitate the guys in Spain because they're doing their thing and they're doing it like 100% good. And I'll try to imitate like fully the guys that are like Go My Country here in Latin America, because a lot of casters from around here are like, okay, I'm just gonna cast in Spanish, but this is gonna be Argentinian Spanish or Chilean Spanish or Colombian Spanish, and I'm just like a bridge between that. I try to do that.
Nice. That's a nice policy to have. I would like to ask, about those events that you have experienced and also you followed so many times, you being a fan of StarCraft 2 and esports in general. Which event do you find more appealing in terms of production, grabbing the audience? Like if you had to choose between DreamHack, ESL, WCS, or MLG.
I mean, if I can like choose one of the events, I don't know. It's so hard because they all have their thing. DreamHack is very good at keeping up, with production levels, and it's really like on the side. You can enjoy it if you're there, and you can enjoy it if you're just watching the stream from your own house. And they're running a LAN on top of that, so it's really a big event that you can enjoy, and you can have like free HD to watch the streams and all that. Then you have MLG that makes you really feel like you're part of the elite whenever you're watching it. I mean, every single match has all these intros and all that. I mean, they might not have, I don't know, Rachel like interviewing each and every one of the players on the arenas,
yeah.
But on each and every one of the actual like main events like Dallas and all that, they really make you feel part of something really big. And then ESL is like the thing that you're always gonna have, like it's always there, and eventually, I mean, you have the Extreme Masters. There are kind of like the DreamHack response to that, but the ESLs are really good at making the community grow and improving their level, because it's kind of like a bridge between being amateur and playing play hymns and being pro and actually winning Go for SC2s and ESL Pro Series and all that.
Yeah, I see, I see. And now that we are talking about those, we have Dreamhack Winter coming in 2 days, and it's gonna be, well, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I mean, I have it here, open the brackets, and we have 4 groups. Let's go from group to group. Like we have group 1, we have Tasia, Stefano, Freyr, the STC, and Joe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when this is something that has been going on like quite a lot on when people just try to set up the groups, that they learn that they don't like mirror matches, to end a tournament. Like people really hate that. PvP, ZVZ, TVD. Sometimes it's really frustrating to watch because you're only gonna have like people from one race watching that particular match with like a passion. So they keep that in mind when they're setting up the groups, and that's something that I really love about Dreamhack. So, I mean, Group 1, Tasia, Stefano, Freyr, the STC, and Show. It's really turn heavy. And I was talking with the STC about this before, like that he was just training for this specific matchup because it's easier just to get a lot of wins and just secure the group and get out of there than going for a more like player by player kind of approach when you're training. And when I was talking to Stefano, for instance, he had a more like, I'm just gonna be solid and I'm gonna outplay everyone. So like each one of the players has their own approach depending on the race and what's around them. But yeah, Freyr has a really, I think he's gonna have a tough time getting out of there because the Koreans definitely dominate that group, and Stefano is like the preferred foreigner over there.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about Joe? I mean, yeah, you're right. The STC and Tasia. I mean, they're the Korean ones, so they're very, very solid. What do you think about Joe?
Joe is, I mean, he's a really good player. I mean, he's young. He's just 25 years old. Now he's playing for Eclipsia, according to what we could obtain, from Liquipedia and all that. Because some of the players that we can't interview, we just have to like run with the recent showings and their Facebook pages and all that. But he is very smart. He's like that kind of goody player. I mean, he's not a I'm gonna outplay you with, I don't know, drops everywhere, having like a sick multitasking. But he's just gonna outsmart you in the whole strategy.
Yeah.
So he's very like he has a very pragmatic approach to the game. If he knows that he's not going to try to force his style onto the matchup, he's just going to play the matchup as it's supposed to be played. I mean, and for instance, I don't know, Turn versus Eric, he's obviously going to go for mech.
Yeah.
Because bio is, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. Wow. And and who would you think, before moving to Group 2, who would you think would be the winning player from Group 1?
I'd say the STC, and it's going to be hard because I think that the STC and Stefano have chances, but Stefano hasn't been like really performing top level. And it's not just, that you can see the results and say, hey, this guy has not been winning every tournament. He's cursed. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say that he's probably like going through a phase where he's not understanding like the game, or he's just trying to do something new, just not to get bored. But he's still definitely a favorite. So I'm kind of split between Tasia and Stefano, but the STC he's training in a very particular and awesome way for this. So I think that the STC has really chances of getting out of here. Yeah.
Okay. Now, moving to Group 2, I mean, it's very Protoss heavy. We have, Mana, and then we have Bly, then it has Sase, Starnen, and Sock.
Sock, yeah.
Man.
It's such a crazy group.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like, Bly is a really good Zerg, and he only has to practice for one matchup, because probably the BYOC guy is going to be relatively easy when you compare it to the rest of the group. But I mean, the rest of them just have to practice 2 matchups, and not just that, because Mana, Starnan, Sase, and Sake, they have like really specific styles. They're not just the regular Protoss. So they don't have to practice, PvZ and PvP. They have to practice PvZ and each one of the styles that they're going up against. So when I was talking to Starnan about this, he said that he was actually like preparing and watching VODs of each one of the players. So he's trying to run it that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who would you think is the favorite? I mean, do you think is it Starnan or Mana or Sak?
It's really hard. I mean, Mana has been performing like quite well, especially since he took ESWC from Stefano. So he's definitely a favorite. Then I mean, I don't want to be mean to the rest of the guys, but
yeah, obviously.
Saka has been like quite underperforming, because I know that he's a great player. He has a really, then again, like a really specific but pragmatic style. But I don't see him, like beating Mana or beating Bly. But Sase has been training, so I think Mana, Sase, or Mana Bly are gonna get out of here.
Okay. And now moving to Group 3. If Group 2 was Protoss heavy, this is Zerg heavy. We have Nurchio, Dimaga, Targa, TLO, and Monchi. Oh my god. Obviously, I'm not the expert, so I'm going to ask you, because I already have like my opinions about this. But okay, how would you describe this group?
It's then again, it's one of those like really hard groups, because when I was talking to Monchi about this, he said that he had the same problem that Bly and Mana were having on group number 2. Like he had to practice for each and every one of the styles. Like he just can't take a general approach to it.
Yeah.
And he was replacing Monster, so, and a lot of people were like really concerned about that. But here's another fun fact that I learned while interviewing him, that Monchi already beat Targa in one of the, I think it was the Ace or Esports Challenge or something like that. So he already has like that psychological edge. Then when I was talking to Targa, he was like, yeah, I have to practice for each one of these matchups. And then on top of that, Nurchio is a really good player. I mean, obviously they're not scared. They're just concerned that their style might be like a hard counter to their own style.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no.
TLO, I haven't been able to interview him or Dimaga yet, but TLO was always like the creative player, and Dimaga was always like the I'm gonna beat you kind of player. Like, so it's actually a very interesting group. I mean, the bad thing is that it's pure ZVZ mostly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are gonna hate that, but it's a really good group.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like I would go well. And then going to Group 4, which is a bit of a mixed match as Group 1, we have Thorzane, 4GG, Ret, Hero, and Naniwa. So
that is like the most balanced group.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good, and Ret is a really good player, but I see him like kind of stuck in between 4GG and Hero over there. It's just that Hero has his own style, and I mean, I'm gonna go through each one of the players, but Hero has a style that's very specific. Like, he tries to force his own style on the race. He likes multitasking, so he goes for like warp prism speed, drops everywhere. He tries to keep you contained while he's out macroing you, and that's his style of PvZ. He's not gonna change. He tries to do the same thing on PvP, and Protoss versus Terran is kind of hard for him. But I mean, if the Zerg is really solid and they know his style, or the Protoss or the Terran just know that he's going to come with Warp Prisms, they have like the edge. And of course, everyone knows what Hero does, because they're professionals. They're expecting that. But then you have 4GG, then again, a fantastic Terran, along with Thorzane. They're like solid players that just they really want to get out of here, especially Thorzane, because in this group you have like the all-time rivalry of Thorzane Naniwa for King of the North.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be sick. Group number 4 is the one that is like most stacked regarding like players, like backgrounds, and all the matches from WCS Europe and the combined like European nationals and all that. So it's probably one of the hardest groups, especially for Red, because he has to practice like against Protoss and against Terran, and he has to keep it like very versatile because you have Hero that plays the game like one way, and then you have Nanoa that definitely does not play like Hero, so it's very very hard in that regard.
Is there any particular match that you would like to cast?
We've already like decided this with Hysteria, the other caster from Dreamhack Spain, but there's one that I really want to cast, and that's gonna be Naniwa Thorsing, definitely. Yeah, that's gonna be super stacked. Yeah.
Where can people see and watch your casting of Dreamhack Winter?
That's gonna be on Dreamhack Spain has a separate, like, they have their very own separate what's the name? Like they have their different portal for all the events. I mean, it's not the same as Dreamhack, Sweden. So I'm just gonna check here like really quick on my, because we have all the streams like written down.
Okay.
And the Spanish one is gonna be, because it's the same that we use for Valencia, so it's gonna be Dreamhack ES. So yeah, it's just Dreamhack ES.
Dreamhack ES. Awesome. And well, I think that would be. Is there anything else that we could cover about Dreamhack before we move on to another subject?
I think we have it kind of covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the groups and all that.
Yeah. So anyway, there was okay. This is obviously outside Dreamhack, and obviously when we did our first interview, HOTS was not out yet. The beta was not out. Now that it's out, I never had the chance to ask you, what do you think about HOTS, about all the races and how they have changed, and how also will this affect competitive gaming?
I mean, HOTS is still a beta. I mean, that's what I try to tell everyone, that there are like crying about imbalance and all that, and I tell them there was a time when you can warp in Immortals. Okay, like the mothership had like crazy abilities like that, that it slowed down like missiles and everything. It had that ability, and I'm like, guys, this is gonna change, and you have to expect, like very big changes. The Warhound being removed, so it's not, like Heart of the Warhound anymore, and then I see like Trixie saying it's Heart of the Widowmine because of the Widowmine.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been changing quite a lot. Zergs are still, they're getting, like some changes, especially in fungal growth and all that, but I mean, of all the races, it's proving to be, like a more micro-intensive game, a game that requires a lot more. I mean, it will eventually require more skill than StarCraft 2, I think, because you have to master like both the metagame like on StarCraft 2 and then the one on Heart of the Swarm. But people still have to like realize it's still a beta. Things are gonna change a lot, and you kind of have to expect that and just report all the bugs. If something is overpowered, just complain on the forums so that they know exactly what is being overpowered and what not.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, it's too soon to tell. I mean, even Wings of Liberty had so many changes during beta. The photon cannons could move at some point.
Oh yeah.
So,
that was crazy.
Yeah, that was really crazy. I remember that when that happened. But and also, well, despite the point that it's really too soon to tell, I mean, how would you perceive, professional StarCraft 2 players taking in Heart of the Swarm? I mean, what's the overall feel from them?
Whenever I talk to like pros about, what do you think about Heart of the Swarm and all that, they share that, as in, like they have witnessed Brood War dying, so they know that when change comes, you can't do anything about it. You just have to move. It's something that the StarCraft players really know, and that of course they expect Heart of the Swarm to be like 10 times better than StarCraft 2, so that they don't have to be like awkwardly playing a new game that's worse than the previous one. Like those initial feelings that people were having on StarCraft 2 versus Brood War.
Yeah.
So it's it's really like, okay, we're just waiting to see when the day comes. We're gonna have to move because this is our job. Like, we're professionals. So if people are now watching this tournament, like, companies are gonna change this, and if people are playing the new game, we're gonna have to play the new game, and that's it. That doesn't mean that they're gonna move on to League of Legends and all that, even though some of the players actually did.
Yeah.
But they will definitely move to Heart of the Swarm and continue to give feedback, because Grubby, for instance, was giving like huge feedback along with QXC and some of the other players to like the lead developers, and telling them, okay, we know that we don't understand how balancing a game actually works, but we can tell you what's going on, from the grandmaster perspective, from the pro player perspective.
A few weeks, I think it was just last week, or a few days ago, that people were saying that StarCraft 2 was dying, and Dota will be taking over, and MOBA, League of Legends and whatnot, because of Slayer players moving and things happening like that. I mean, do you think that is that's not true, is it?
No, I mean, it was silly, but it actually raised a couple of good questions from the community. Like, it really reignited those that were kind of cold in the community to say, hey, I don't want to watch this game die. And I mean, of course, StarCraft 2 was not going to die just because of one good weekend of League of Legends. League of Legends has been having like good, consistent numbers for quite a while.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same esport. It's like, people that watch baseball might watch soccer. That doesn't mean that they're gonna switch completely from one or the other depending on the numbers one of those gets. I mean, of course, I might feel like more motivated to become a soccer player in Argentina just because of the pay. As the same thing happens to League of Legends players that might get motivated to play both League of Legends and Dota 2 if they're having like really consistent results. But that doesn't mean that they're gonna change complete disciplines, like from StarCraft 2 to League of Legends and all that. Especially from League of Legends to StarCraft 2, because that's where the hard part lies.
That's true. Well, man, I think that's about it for today's interview. Is there anything else that you would like to add, and also shout-outs as well?
No, it's just that I'm really glad to have this interview and have, I don't know, like the other one, the previous one that we had was, I don't know, like a year ago, maybe less.
I think it was less. It was probably around May or June. It's been a few months.
Yeah, it's been a few months. So, like, not just my approach to esports has also changed a lot. I used to have like more guerrilla kind of approach to it, but right now I feel that because one of the topics that we covered in the previous interview was, that there's people like harming the esports industry. What can we do about it? And I believe that I've changed a lot since then. I'm more about putting up a good show, and if someone else is doing a bad work, eventually people will realize that and just not focus on that, because I'm just misplacing all my energy and focusing on that instead of running a sick event. So I've changed a lot, and apparently that change has reflected on results because of all these gigs and whatnot. But the core of my concern, that is helping the community and all that, is still there, and that's definitely what I hope to keep growing on the esports career that I'm trying to pursue. Yeah, and on the shout-outs things, if that's okay, I'd like to give like a huge shout out to my girlfriend, because she's been putting up with so many things. Because I've been, like, the esports life is really hard, because you have to be like on top of a lot of things, of a lot of tournaments, players, because otherwise your quality as a caster like diminishes. And I try to be as best as I can, because my goal is to bring people from the English streams to my stream, or to Spanish streams in general. And I try to do that by being professional, like trying to say, okay, I know Tastosis is good, but you have a like a national product that might suit your needs. And she has been like really supportive on it. So that she's probably like the one that is most effective because of this. Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
it's that. Then the teams that I'm still casting on, because I won't leave my teams because they rock. That is Furious Gaming and Virtus Legion, two teams from Argentina. You guys rock. Thanks. Then of course all the sponsors from each and every one of those, and then the group that I've been running the esports events with. That is the guys from Geek Lounge. Huge shout out to them because they rock and they've like helped me throughout this whole learning process. And of course, the crew, just the guys from all Latin America that tune in, to the moderators that are always there, keeping the chat clean. But it's really an easy job because all they have to do is just provide links because we have like very few trolls. And so thanks to the audience as well for not being so trollish. And then for the guys in Spain that have been, putting up with my pronunciation of most things because I'm Argentinian.
Very good, man. Very good. Anyway, from me and from all the viewers that are listening to this interview, thank you very much for your time, TheArgie, and for the interview. And we'll be seeing your cast since Thursday till the end of the Dreamhack. And have a good one.
Same thing, man. See you.